Today we're going to talk about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are verbs that are combined of a verb that has another particle attached to it. A particle is خلكيك, okay, which is another word that changes its meaning. Basically, a phrasal verb is a unit of 2 or even 3 words combined together that have a specific meaning. All right? Okay, so once we understand that, we should also know that phrasal verbs are probably one of the hardest things to learn and master in English, because it's like just learning a list of basically hundreds of verbs, but they have the same verb and different prepositions, or the same preposition and different verbs, or a combination of prepositions, because there can be 2 prepositions, and that changes the meaning of the entire phrasal verb. Wow, so how do we even approach this catastrophe? So let's see. What we need to understand is first how English is constructed in a way that how we think in English, okay? English is a very visual and maybe even like metaphorical language. So when we talk about phrasal verbs, we take the particle, okay, and we can imagine this action and how the particle affects the verb. Okay, do you follow me? If you don't, let's see how it plays out. So let's take the word up, for example. Okay, we all know what up is, right? Up, למעלה. But what does it mean? Let's visualize it, all right? It can be to go from a lower place to a higher place. It can be, for example, when we lie down and we want to get up. Okay, so we do this action, get up. Okay, we were lying, now we get up. Or wake up, which is the same thing. All right. It can be when we are filled, we fill like a container, okay, we fill it up to the, to the absolute maximum. Okay, so that's also an up. So for example, the phrasal verb throw up, okay, when you have throw, right, to throw something, but then when you throw up is when you're full. It reached the maximum point, and now you have to throw up. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, lock up is again when you started like from a starting point, and then you came as far away from this point as possible, and now you're locked up. Okay, you have no connection to where you were before. You're now in a new place. You're all locked up. Okay, or when you dig up something. When you dig, you חופר, right? But then when you dig up something, you pull something out of the hole that you dug, right? And to step up is to improve your game, right? To kind of go to your next level. So again, you always, when you use the preposition up, you always go up. Try it in other phrasal verbs and see if that works. But always remember that it's the visualization that's important. All right? Now let's talk about the word out. We have a lot of prepositions with out too. Watch out, go out, jump out, find out. All right? So what is the meaning of the word out? Right? Just to go out, to get out, to get out of a certain container. Okay? Now, when we visualize, when we think metaphorically, this container can be physical, but it doesn't have to be. Okay? So let's look at some examples. Okay? So if I say he jumped out of a car, so the container is, of course, the car. But what if I say watch out? Okay? So when I need to watch out, I look at the container as myself, and I need to watch out from anything that is outside of me. Just look, to just watch outside for anything from the outside, or if I, for example, find out something, so the container here is my knowledge. I have a certain set of things that I know, and then I find out something new. So this is how we look at this, and you can try it with other phrasal verbs and see if that works for you. See if that makes sense. If you add out to a main verb, what is the meaning? Does the meaning correspond to this meaning of the word out? The same do for up. Does the meaning of the verb change according to this metaphorical representation or meaning of the word up? We'll talk about one more preposition, and then I'll give you some exercises. Finally, the word off means losing contact with anything. It can be a person, it can be a surface. And when we visualize a surface, it doesn't have to be something physical. So when a stain doesn't come off, it means that it doesn't leave the surface of the clothes. And when you want someone to keep their hands off you, so it means that you want to create separation between someone's hands and yourself, your body. To cut off is literally cut off ties with a person when you don't want any more communication with them. And to doze off, To doze off is breaking communication with the state of wakefulness that you were in before. If, for example, you sit in lecture and you doze off, then you were awake, you were alert, you were, listening to the teacher, and then you dozed off. You broke that connection. So to sum up, we have phrasal verbs for many verbs in English. And for each verb, when we add a particle, we change the meaning, and then we get a whole other verb. So we can go by the meaning of the main verb, and then learn all the phrasal verbs that start with this verb. I think this is a harder way to learn, because then you have all kinds of meanings that have nothing to do with the original verb. But if you go by the particle, if you see, if you do what we did with out and off and up, and apply that to other phrasal verbs and other particles, then you kind of you will start to see that the English language is very, very visual. And whenever something doesn't make sense, try to maybe imagine a cartoon figure, okay, doing this action, okay? So this was it for today. I'll see you next week. And again, I invite you to send me your recordings and your practices. This time I want you to find these phrasal verbs that you don't understand, that you really have trouble with understanding, and send them to me. I will attach to this lesson, I'll attach of course, a practice like I always do. So send me your practices, send me your questions, anything you have, and I'll see you in our next lesson.